following programme is recommended for those 16 and over, as it contains sporting violence, possible bad language, and flashing imagery.
Ladies and gentlemen, good evening and welcome. From the four corners of the world, to the four corners of this ring, the fight starts now!
Touch gloves.
How do you like it?
Over shoulder. So aggressive, so focused.
Look at these two guys! Still the undisputed champion of the world!
We are a little over 24 hours away from showtime in Los Angeles, and for Diego Pacheco, that's the plan. Right near the grounds where the Showtime Lakers once played and racked up those NBA championships, it is Pacheco looking to shine in his homecoming fight against Marcelo Coceres tomorrow night, live on DAZN. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Los Angeles. Alongside the always dapper Chris Algieri, who's not in the business of Casual Friday, I'm Justin Shackle. We welcome you into Matchroom's weigh-in here in Los Angeles for Pacheco Coceres. 20-0 Diego Pacheco. He's trying to go 20-0. And he has 8 consecutive knockouts. But this is a test right here. This is the pure definition of a mid-level fight for a 22-year-old on the rise.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Pacheco's been a guy that I've had as one of the top prospects in the game today. He's moving towards that contender status. A win here, especially an impressive one, the way that he's been performing lately, is a huge step up, and that's a massive step for everyone else in the weight class to pay attention.
You know, Marcelo Coceres, 32 years of age, he has proven himself to be a tough out, durable, he's tough to put down. If we continue to see what Diego Pacheco has displayed in past fights tomorrow night against a guy like Coceres, then what kind of conversations can we have with Diego in 2024?
Well, prospect no more. You're a total contender. You're ready for the biggest fights available. And, you know, Diego's one of those guys who's been calling those people out anyway. So, you know, he's there mentally. He just has to get there in terms of his record and physically. And a win here, especially like you said, if he does it impressively against a tough guy like Coceres, he's putting the rest of the weight class on notice.
Well, the main card on DAZN begins at 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific. You can catch us on Before the Bell, beginning at 6:30 Eastern, 3:30 Pacific, with a couple of interesting matches there. And we are about to see the fighters hit the scales. We will go stage side with David Diamante.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon and welcome to Los Angeles, California, USA, for the official weigh-in for our big night of World Championship Professional Boxing taking place here Saturday night at the YouTube Theater. The whole card is being brought to you courtesy of Mr. Eddie Hearn of Matchroom Boxing. We're sponsored by Bet Online and Stagefront, and of course, all the action will go out live around the world exclusively on DAZN. Ladies and gentlemen, it's a great fight card. We have 6 fights on the card. We have 3 title fights. We've got 1 world title. And at the top of the bill, rising contender in the super middleweight division, the hard-hitting, exciting Diego Pacheco defends his title against the tough Argentinian Marcelo Coceres. So ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, let's go ahead and bring the fighters up to the stage so they can face the scale and face each other. Our first contest, 4 rounds in the lightweight division. Now making his way to the stage, his professional record, 3 wins against 3 defeats. He has 2 wins coming by way of knockout. Fighting out of San Jose, California, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Pedro Angel Cruz. And his opponent now making his way to the stage. His young professional record thus far perfect. 2 fights, 2 victories. He fights out of South Central Los Angeles, California, by way of Guanajuato, Mexico. Ladies and gentlemen, here's the 6-time national champion and the 2022 WBC U.S. Amateur Champion, known as El Flaco, Krzysztof Bazaldua. And now to the scale, please welcome Zurdo de Oro, Pedro Angel Cruz. 138.8 for Pedro Angel Cruz, 138.8. And now to the scale, the young undefeated Kristek Bazaldua.
136.6.
136.6 for Kristek Bazaldua. 136.6 for Kristek Bazaldua.
So yeah, Bazaldua and Cruz going at it 4 rounds. This is going to be really exciting. We keep hearing a round fight with Pedro Cruz. In the past, he only had maybe a week, 2 weeks notice. He's at a full training camp. He continues to say how great and how good of a condition he is in as he goes up against Kristek Bazaldua, looking to improve to 3-0.
Face to face, please.
Bazaldua versus Cruz, 4 rounds in lightweights, Matchroom Boxing live on DAZN from Los Angeles, California, USA.
Bazaldua looking to end his first calendar year in the pro ranks on a high note. 19 years of age, tall, rangy southpaw going up against Pedro Cruz. We're going to see Inglewood Walker and Jorge Villegas next. Back to David.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, our next contest, 8 rounds in the super featherweight division. Now making his way to the stage, his professional record, 14 victories against only 1 defeat, 13 of his 14 wins coming by way of knockout. Peleando fuera Los Mochis, Sinaloa, Mexico, ladies and gentlemen, Jorge Alberto Villegas. And his opponent now making his way to the stage. He is undefeated in his campaign as a professional with a record of 11 victories, no defeats, 1 draw with 9 wins coming by way of knockout. He fights out of LA, Los Angeles, California, Jalen Walker. Now to the scale, Jorge Alberto Villegas. 131.6 for Villegas.
Chains off. Thank you.
And out of the scale, the undefeated Jalen Skywalker. 131.2 for Jalen Skywalker. 131.2.
Inglewood Walker 11-0-1 with 9 knockouts. Jorge Villegas 14-1 with 13 stoppages, looking for a victory in his U.S. debut. Walker trying to end a 14-month layoff with a victory in his hometown, 8 rounds, as Walker got off to that fast start, going 11-0-1 his first 3 years as a pro. But again, this will be his first action since last September. Still just 21 years of age. A southpaw growing up in South Central LA, will be in action in the YouTube Theater tomorrow night on Before the Bell.
Okay. Rock, son.
Walker versus Villegas, 8-round super featherweights matchroom boxing live on DAZN from Los Angeles, California.
Both of those matches making up our Before the Bell card, and then it's the main card beginning at 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific. You're going to see Mark Castro, and Chris, you have Castro in his first 10-round fight, but he's also going back down to 130 pounds.
Yeah, I mean, he's been all over the scale the last couple of years, and I think probably where he belongs is more at 130. So 10 rounds, more Mark Castro, I'm happy. So let's check it out.
He's looked fit, looked healthy all week. Now he hits the scales against Gonzalo Fuenzalida. Back to David we go.
Thank you, Justin. Our next contest, 10 rounds in the super featherweight division, making his way to the stage. His professional record, 12 victories against 2 defeats. He has 3 wins coming by way of knockout. He fights out of Santiago, Chile. Please welcome Gonzalo Maravilla Fuenzalida. And his opponent now making his way to the stage. He is undefeated in his professional record, 10 fights, 10 victories, with 7 of them coming by way of knockout. Fighting out of Fresno, California, the undefeated Mark Castro. Now to the scale, Maravilla, Gonzalo Fuenzalida.
132.8.
132.8 for Gonzalo Fuenzalida, 132.8. And now to the scale, the undefeated Mark Castro.
131.4.
131.4 for Mark Castro, 131.4.
Mark Castro turning 24 back in August. When you watch Mark Castro, the volume punching, the combinations, they stand out. Again, going down in weight. First 10-round contest for Mark Castro. Fuenzalida taking on his first undefeated opponent, 27-year-old Chilean, lives and trains in Las Vegas, 12-2 with 3 knockouts. He's won 7 of his last 8. And the final face-off between Castro and Fuenzalida.
Mark Castro, Gonzalo Fuenzalida, 10-round super featherweights, matchroom boxing live on DAZN from Los Angeles, California.
So Castro's fighting in Los Angeles, but I'm going to test this out here. He's got a lot of support from Fresno, California. A lot of energy from Fresno in the room, right? Right? There we go. Right on cue. So Castro kicking off the main card at 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific. Yafai, Jonathan Rodriguez, coming up in an interesting crossroads fight as Yafai looks for another title run at 34 years of age. They're ready to hit the scales.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we're ready to weigh in the first of our 3 title contests of the night as Mr. Eddie Hearn of Matchroom Boxing, in association with Marshall Kaufman's King Promotions, are proud to present 10 rounds for the vacant WBA Intercontinental Bantamweight Championship. Now making his way to the stage, his professional record, 16 victories, 1 defeat, 1 draw, with 6 wins coming by way of knockout. He fights out of Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Jonathan Torres Rodriguez. And his opponent now making his way to the stage. His professional record, 27 victories, only 1 defeat. He has 15 wins coming by way of knockout. He fights out of Birmingham, England. Here's the 2008 Olympian and the former WBA super flyweight champion of the world, Cal Yafai. Now the scale, Jonathan Rodriguez. Now the scale, Jonathan Rodriguez.
118.
118, bang on the bantamweight limit for Jonathan Rodriguez with 118 pounds, bang on. And now to the scale, the former champion of the world, Cal Yafai. 117.6 for Cal Yafai, 117.6.
Well, both fighters looking good in this bantamweight fight for a regional belt in the WBA Intercontinental Bantamweight title. Chris, you and I were talking off camera with Jonathan Rodriguez walking up to the scale. You notice his lower body, very impressive.
Looking very fit, looking very strong, with a lot to prove on a massive stage.
Yafai looking for another title run.
Place, guys.
At 34, like we mentioned, the former world champ at 115 pounds, trying to become a two-weight champion. But first, he has to grab the vacant WBA Intercontinental Bantamweight title and set himself up for another world title shot down the road. The 34-year-old decorated amateur fighter out of Great Britain, taking on the 24-year-old out of Puerto Rico, lives and trains in Pennsylvania. As he is ready for his biggest opportunity to date, Jonathan Rodriguez unbeaten in his last 9 fights.
Intensity.
Yafai versus Rodriguez, 10 rounds. The vacant WBA Intercontinental Bantamweight Championship. Matchroom Boxing, Kings Promotions. Live on DAZN from LA, California.
That's what we want, chippy nature in a crossroads fight coming up. That's the second fight on this main card on DAZN, Yafai and Rodriguez, as these two will go at it for that vacant regional belt at 118 pounds. Always dangerous when you are in a crossroads fight on each end. The young guy looking for that big opportunity, but Yafai obviously has had a decorated resume, world title on that resume, but this could be a chance that he needs to grab in order to take that next step and capture a two-weight accomplishment.
Yeah, both men have a lot to lose here. There's a lot on the line for the trajectory of their careers after this fight, so you know they're going to fight as hard as they can.
That brings us to the co-feature, Mayerline Rivas, Erica Cruz. All week we have been hearing both of these women talk about what to expect Saturday night. Both use one word: war.
War. I would expect nothing less from these two. This is a great matchup. This is potential to steal the show tomorrow night.
Time for the weigh-in for the WBA Super Bantamweight title. Rivas and Cruz. Back to David Diamante.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's now time to weigh in the chief support of the evening as we go 10 rounds for the WBA Super Bantamweight Championship of the World. And now making her way to the stage, please welcome the challenger. She is a southpaw with a professional record of 16 victories against 2 defeats, with 3 wins coming by way of knockout. Presentando de Ciudad de Mexico, Distrito Federal, here is the former WBA featherweight champion of the world, Erica Dinamita Cruz. And her opponent now making her way to the stage. She is the defending world champion. Professional record, 17 victories, 4 defeats, 3 draws, with 11 wins coming by way of knockout. Here is the 2-division world champion fighting out of Maracaibo, Venezuela. Here's the reigning and defending WBA Super Bantamweight champion of the world, Mayerline La Monita Rivas. And now to the scale, the challenger, Erica Dinamita Cruz.
122.
122, the super bantamweight limit, bang on 122 pounds for the challenger, Erica Dinamita Cruz. And now to the scale, the defending world champion, Mayerline La Monita Rivas.
121.8.
121.8 for the defending world champion, Mayerline Rivas.
Both fighters obviously making weight. Cruz bang on at 122 as she goes down in weight to try to capture her second world title fight here. This is a quick turnaround for Erica Cruz, who last fought in September.
Yeah, she's been very busy this year. I mean, coming up the Serrano fight and then that very impressive win against Melissa Parker just 2 months ago. Like you said, quick turnaround, and you got 2 ladies who are never in a bad fight. So this one has war written all over it.
You can expect nothing less than that punch volume rising as the rounds go on Saturday night between these two. Rivas making her 3rd title defense. Already a 2-division champion. Cruz trying to become just that on Saturday. This will also be Rivas' U.S. debut, and for Cruz, it's her third U.S. fight, and both fighters talking about the potential for an all-out brawl, an all-out war, but also the potential to unify down the road in 2024. You can bet that Ellie Scottney's going to be paying close attention to this fight coming up tomorrow night. Obviously, Scottney, the IBF champ, but could Cruz, could Rivas await potentially go over to the UK sometime in 2024 for a unification bout? That is also on the line here for this one, for the WBA 122-pound title. And that brings us to our main event. There you see Marcelo Coceres going up against Diego Pacheco, 19-0, 16 knockouts. Time to weigh in for the main event.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon and welcome to Los Angeles, California, USA, for the official weigh-in for our big night of World Championship Professional Boxing taking place at the YouTube Theater here on Saturday night. And it's now time to weigh in the main event of the evening, as Mr. Eddie Hearn of Matchroom Boxing is proud to present 12 rounds for the WBC USA and WBO International Super Middleweight Championship. Now making his way to the stage, please welcome the challenger. His professional record, 32 victories, 5 defeats, 1 draw, with 18 wins coming by way of knockout. Peleando fuera, Quilmes, Buenos Aires, Argentina, Marcelo El Terrible Coceres. And his opponent now making his way to the stage, he is the defending titleist. His professional record, a perfect one. 19 fights, 19 victories, with 16 big wins coming by way of knockout. He fights out of South Central Los Angeles, California. Here is the reigning, defending, undefeated, and hard-hitting WBC, USA, and WBO International Super Middleweight Champion, Diego Pacheco. And on the scale, the challenger, Marcelo El Terrible Coceres. 167 pounds for the challenger, Marcelo El Terrible Coceres. And on the scale, the undefeated, hard-hitting, super middleweight contender, Diego Pacheco.
167.8.
167.8 for Diego Pacheco. 167.8.
So Coceres coming in a full pound under the 168-pound limit as these two get ready to face off for the final time ahead of tomorrow night. Coceres and Pacheco. It was in this city about 4 years ago where Coceres was facing Billy Joe Saunders, and that was the fight that Pacheco said stood out to him with Coceres. He said Coceres was giving Saunders a great fight until he did get catched and dropped as well, but coincidentally, Pacheco was on that card as well. Here we are 4 years later, returning to LA, and it is Pacheco and Coceres in the main event.
Diego Pacheco, Marcelo Coceres, 12 rounds for the WBC USA and WBO International Super Middleweight Championship. Matchroom Boxing, live on the zone from Los Angeles, California.
Now, Chris, Coceres, just based on his body of work, he screams like a guy that's not fazed by much, hasn't been fazed by much in the ring. And that's one of the big questions here, because what we've seen from Diego Pacheco, will it faze a guy like
122 pounds. What a matchup against Erica Cruz. You know, every fight she's in, it's an absolute all-out war from the first bell. And she will do exactly the same tomorrow night. When the first bell goes, she will move forward. She doesn't move her legs that much or even that well, but what she does is her volume punch is incredible. You saw that in the Serrano fight, you saw that in the Melissa Parker fight, but that is 2 back-to-back wars. And Maylene Rivas can really punch. You know, Erica's coming down to 122 to try and become a 2-division world champion. That will be a thriller. I think a 10-round complete shootout, and it's, you know, a real 50-50 battle.
Thanks, Eddie, so much. We'll talk to you on Before the Bell tomorrow over at the YouTube Theater. Here's another quick preview of what is to come Saturday night on DAZN here from Los Angeles. Before the Bell beginning at 6:30 Eastern, 3:30 Pacific over at the YouTube Theater. Krystek Basildua, Jalen Walker. Basildua going up against Pedro Cruz. Walker against Jorge Villegas. And again, that's starting up at 6:30 Eastern, 3:30 Pacific from the YouTube Theater. And then it is the main card beginning at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific on DAZN. Mark Castro starting us off against Gonzalo Fuenzalida. Cal Yafai, Jonathan Rodriguez, the WBA Intercontinental Bantamweight title on the line. The co-feature we were just discussing, Mayerline Rivas and Erica Cruz for Rivas' WBA Super Bantamweight title. And then individual who's just dropped by the set, Diego Pacheco, Marcelo Coceres in a super middleweight clash over at YouTube Theater in Pacheco's hometown of Los Angeles. Diego, here we are now, day before the fight, hometown fight, the headliner. What has this week been like for you?
It's been a great week. You know, I'm super happy to be back home here in Los Angeles. It's been a great year this far, and just looking forward to ending the year on a great note, a great win against a tough opponent. And then what better place to do it than in my hometown? You know, I'm super excited and just ready to go Saturday night.
Diego, I got a question for you. You look like you're getting bigger. I'm standing next to you right now, like this guy, but you also look like you're making weight easier. How did you feel stepping on the scale today?
I felt good. You know, a weight cut, it's always good. You know, I'm obviously a big guy, you know, but 168 I feel extremely comfortable. I always try to keep myself not too far away from weight for that same reason. And yeah, I feel great, man. 168, I feel really good, and I'm happy about how things are going.
So much can transpire when you go from 18 to 22 years old, but you were last fighting in LA as an 18-year-old. Take us through the biggest differences inside the ring for you since then.
You know, well, it's a lot of growth. You know, like you said, I was 18. I feel like I was still a kid. I was only beginning my pro career, and I was fortunate enough to fight in a lot of big undercards. You know, I've been under big spotlights, and I've performed every time. You know, I'm getting better every fight, and just gonna be no different. You know, I'm getting older, I'm getting bigger, I'm getting stronger, and you guys will see the best Pacheco yet come tomorrow night.
A couple more before we go. We want to focus in on Coceres, because he is the definition of a gatekeeper. That's a label he wants to shed when he gets in the ring with you tomorrow night. When you see him on film, what stands out with Coceres?
Just his experience. You know, he's a good veteran, like you said, a gatekeeper. You know, he's a good fighter. You know, he's put on amazing fights against these other fighters, but those other fighters weren't Diego Pacheco. You know, and I'm just ready to showcase my skills, showcase the different level I'm in, and just excited, man. You know, I'm excited for this fight, and ready to put on another great show.
Will it be Showtime style for Diego Pacheco tomorrow?
You know, I'm always in the fight to win. You know, during the fight, you know, I can say whatever I want right now, but you know, during the fight, that's when you guys will see what will happen. You know, like you guys see, I can put on great knockouts. I can walk guys down. I can box. I can do whatever it takes to win. You know, and that's what it's about.
We're looking forward to it. Obviously, a step up. Great test for a 22-year-old who is on the come up in the entire sport, not just at 168 pounds. Diego, thanks a lot for stopping by. Good luck to you.
Thank you, guys.
That's going to wrap it up for this weigh-in here from Los Angeles. We will talk to you tomorrow on Before the Bell, 6:30 Eastern, 3:30 Pacific from the YouTube Theater. That's when we get started with the preliminary bouts. Chris Algieri and myself, Justin Shackle. Then we'll take you through all the way to the main card beginning at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific on DAZN, leading up to the main event, Diego Pacheco against Marcelo Coceres. Until then, for everybody here in Los Angeles, for our entire Matchroom staff, and for Chris Algieri, I'm Justin Shackle. We thank you for joining us. We will talk to you tomorrow from LA.
Ladies and gentlemen, good evening and welcome. From the four corners of the world, to the